Hello everyone, today we're doing watermelon pops from the craftcanada.com website. This recipe link was sent to me by a fellow YouTuber by the name of Real Life Mom of Two. Thank you for taking the time to send me that link. Here we go. For this recipe you'll need some lime jello. You'll need an 85-gram package, which is about 3 ounces. You place it into a medium-sized bowl. Add to that 1/3 of a cup of sugar and 1 cup of boiling water, and stir that together until it is completely dissolved for about 2 minutes. Then take half a cup of cold water and add ice cubes to it until you get to the 3/4 of a cup mark. Then place the ice cubes and water into the prepared jello, stir it around until all of the ice cubes are melted. And then you're going to put this in the refrigerator for approximately 25 minutes. And you're going to do the same thing again with the strawberry jello. Once again, it is still 85 grams, 3 ounces. Placing that in a measuring cup in this particular case. Adding 1/3 of a cup of sugar, 1 cup of boiling water, and stirring for a little while until it is fully dissolved. Then adding the half a cup of cold water, topped up to 3/4 of a cup with ice cubes, and then stirring it together until all the ice cubes are melted. This one we aren't going to put in the refrigerator right away. What we're going to do is pour this into our little molding cups, our little cups. These are Dixie cups. They are 3-ounce cups. They are like little wax paper cups. And you need 16 of them for this recipe. And you're going to take the red Jell-O liquid and you're going to pour it equally amongst 16 cups. I just basically eyeballed it. You just put a little bit in each cup until it looks like they're all about even. I placed the cups into a plastic container just to hold them all still, and it's going to be a lot easier to put these in the freezer if they're in some kind of container, obviously. I had 1 cup that wouldn't fit, so I did that one separately. Then you're going to put these into the freezer for about 20 minutes. That's what the recipe asked for. Now, I think what the recipe was getting at, however it wasn't specific, was when you add the half a teaspoon of miniature chocolate chips and give it a stir, the chocolate chips will remain suspended in the partially gelled jello. And after 20 minutes, that didn't happen with mine. I had to leave mine in my freezer for about 45 minutes before I got to the point where the jello had just started to set, and when I put the half a teaspoon of chocolate chips in there, they actually remain suspended at different levels within the jello. As you can see, there's some on the top, some suspended in the middle, and some near the bottom. In a medium-sized bowl, I placed 4 ounces of cream cheese and 1/3 of a cup of sugar, and I just blended that together until it was creamy. And then I added 1½ cups of Cool Whip dessert topping, and then stirring this together. I would keep stirring until it is very well combined. I placed it into a plastic Ziploc bag and I cut the corner off because you need to put the next layer, the white layer, on top of the red layer. And I thought it would be easier just to be able to squeeze it on top. Now, right away I noticed that this was going to be a challenge to do because of my cream cheese and my Cool Whip was kind of still cold from the refrigerator. It wasn't spreading very easily at all, and you can see I didn't get a nice creamy layer at all. It was almost impossible to spread. It was going right into the red jello. So what I did was, to warm it up a little bit, I just kind of squished it and let it come to room temperature a little bit more, and then as soon as it was smoother and as soon as it was warmer, it actually came out a lot easier, a lot smoother, and then I was able to use a spoon just to coax it into a layer over top of the red, pressing it up to the size of the cup. And that way you're going to get a nice uniform white layer. And the warmer that cream cheese and Cool Whip got, the easier it was to squeeze out and the easier it was to make a nice smooth layer. As you can see, the ones in the front were the ones I did at the end, and you can see how nice they are and how nice and smooth they are. Now, after you let your green jello sit in the fridge for 25 minutes, remove it from the fridge because you do not want it to harden completely. You want it to be kind of in this form. It is gelled, but not completely firm, so that you can still spoon it and it'll still reform and make a nice layer. And that's exactly what I did. I put all the green jello in all 16 cups. And then you add popsicle sticks to each cup. You can also use plastic spoons if you don't have the popsicle sticks. And then put them in the freezer and let them freeze until firm, about 3 hours. Now, once they're frozen, I'll give you a couple of tips of how to get them out of the paper cups. You can dip them into some warm water or run some warm water over top of them for about 10 seconds or so. And then just peel off the paper cup. If you try to pull the watermelon ice pop out of the cup by the stick has a tendency to come out. So it's probably better just to peel it. And after unmolding a few of these, I realized that you actually didn't need to dip them in hot water at all, that the cups came off quite well even without dipping them in the hot water. And there they are, finished watermelon ice pops. These are really good. I wasn't sure if I was going to like frozen Jell-O, but it's quite tasty. And don't you think that the red part really looks like real watermelon flesh? I think it, with the chocolate chips embedded in there, I think it really looks like watermelon. That cream cheese layer is fantastic, and there's a nice contrast between the strawberry and the lime Jell-O at the bottom. These are really good too because they're not very drippy. When they start to melt, they don't drip a lot because the Jell-O holds everything together. So if you have some really small kids with these, they probably won't make that big of a mess. And they're only 3 ounces in size, which is a nice small size for kids. This would be the perfect treat for a hot summer's day. So watermelon ice pops, give them a try.